Okay, last time we were together, I'd just taken you to Shea Stadium, and the Beatles had just turned everything upside down, right? Now, all of the techs, all the technology geeks start going to work trying to figure out a way to harness and catch up with what had just happened. The music world had been caught off guard by this British invasion, if you will. And now the sound reinforcement industry explodes. Now, if you think about it, no monitor speakers were on the stage because they didn't need them, because they were no one could ever have dreamed that the audience would dominate the sound realm at a concert, because the concert etiquette was you wait till the end of the song. Everybody, there's your opportunity to respond, and it shifts the atmosphere frequency-wise, emotional. Everything changes then. Now, new beginning. Here comes another song. Here comes another piece. So and so is going to sing now. We applaud them. They go away. See, but now it was 55,000 people releasing their sound. Now, when you look at what had transpired musically, now let's go back to 1919, when the public address system, no longer was there need for 120-piece orchestras trying to pump out over 100 dBs, because now you could do it with the technology, right? Then comes radio technology. Now here comes, and on it goes. Now, when these guys, when that ceased to carry it out, now instruments in the 30s and 40s, they start to be electrified. You know, like with the blues, for instance, when it came up out of the Delta, there was no electronics involved with it at all. From time to time, you'd find it in the beginning, some of those beginning days, you'd find an amplifier and an old and the patent juba and all the stuff that was going on in the roadhouses and stuff. They'd have these little microphones cranking out a harmonica with like a pig nose amp on the street, and overdriving the thing and all that. But blues was not electrified until it had made its way up it started off, as jazz, and it come up the Mississippi River, Memphis blues, then St. Louis blues, and it goes to Chicago, and there's where it was electrified during the 30s. And that's when WLS in Chicago was broadcasting, and by then the Grand Ole Opry was broadcasting down here, Clear Channel, WSM Clear Channel 650 on your radio dial, blasting the whole nation. But where were they getting these sounds? They were getting the sounds now from the culture of family musicians and singers and blues players, and so there's a grassroots sound coming up. The technologies are causing it to go forward, right? But so now you don't have to have a 100-piece orchestra to have the dynamics. But when you look at the Beatles, see, the reason they weren't the ones to have the impact is because there was no lows. Now look at this. Low sound sources, which are typically darker in quality, by the way, like you cast out a bunch of low frequencies. And low frequencies always cause an impact on your circulatory system. High frequencies, nervous system, right? So we needed something to fill a stadium with the full experience of the dynamics in the audio realm. And so they had to start creating those technologies that could be married to the bass player. And there comes your low sounds. And those low frequencies also are directionless in space, so you can move a room to the core. You can vibrate their knees and impact the physical anatomy. Now, when we were able to do that with technology, there was no need anymore to instead of facing the source of the sound, concerts became immersed in the source of the sound, right? I remember the early rock days, man. You had to have the bass turned up on 11 and pull the knob off, and if you could shake people's hair with the low frequencies, you were immersing them in the sound. And those were days where, prior, coming into the 60s, by 1967 now, music took a whole nother big turn with Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. When that thing came out, which was a soundtrack to the drug culture, the psychedelic culture, if you will. We're supposed to musically interpreting the colors that were experienced with LSD. When those things started happening, now people could immerse themselves in more ways than one, and we'll talk about that a lot when we start talking about the transition from Hank Williams through the Elvis and the Beatles and all this stuff. But instead of facing the source, you're immersed in it. And so now we've gone from our experience as listeners has gone from experiencing the band or experiencing a harpist or a violinist somewhere, or a harp player like David was, or a shepherd's pipe, or a minstrel coming through, speaking to you and engaging you emotionally with the images of their poetry. Now you're experiencing the full dynamic of waves of sound that you can immerse yourself in, and that's where you gain the experience. So see how the stimulation level keeps rising generation to generation? But now stay with me, because I want you to go with me with this. We're immersed. And so now we're escaping out of those environments. What are we doing? We're finding ways to escape out of those environments into more of an individuation, into an aloneness or a disengagement. How? Because then the technology enabled us to put hi-fi stereo sound in the room. And I remember back not that many long ago when we would fill the room with more watts than a radio station, man. And you had to give big old Pioneer stacks, this and that, and then on the stage it was Marshall stacks, and pretty soon we got this huge mountain of sound that we were dealing with. Well, no, we don't have to go to that mountain anymore, because now the technology enables us to turn it into us. Not only then next comes not just the stereo filling the room and us immersing in that, but now we just put on the headphones. Remember that? We used to have headphones. Now we don't. We have buds. So we keep getting farther and farther inward and inward and closing up into this isolation. Now we're not being immersed in the music. We're immersing into this disengagement. And it's all about iPhone, iPad, Me Mobile, and Mobile Me, and all this stuff. It's so individual. This individuation thing and aloneness can be way out of balance, or we can throw all the gear away and take the guitar and go out and sit by the river and have those encounters with God, with the same God that would meet David in the shepherd's field. Did something so deep in his heart. It gave him a sound and a song and the language and the poetry and the rhythm and the tones and the textures and the arrangements to touch heaven because of what he was hearing in his heart when he was sitting in the presence of God. No wonder God made him be the king. He didn't want him to be the star recording artist of his generation. He took him right on to royalty, kingship. He took him right on to full authority politically, governmentally, ecclesiastically, spiritually, everything else. A 17-year-old kid who fell in love with God sitting on the hillside without a band. Now, that's how you shape culture and influence your generation. It's having something so deep and so pure within you that when it comes out, it redefines the kingdom. So anyway, we'll talk about some more of that next time. That we're going to do that part 1, part 2. We may do some more parts. See you soon, guys.
Thanks for watching. If you've been blessed by this program, please consider partnering with us in prayer or through a financial gift. Learn more by visiting our website at selaministries.com.